That is one of the common objections that I hear, and I'm sure you hear it all the time. And in fact, you first heard it from me because when you transitioned me to punch and roll about 7 years ago, I fought it at first. I didn't like it at first. It was uncomfortable. It was outside what I was used to. And I think one of the first things I said to you was, "Well, I'm used to just snapping my fingers and keeping going. I don't like having to constantly stop and go back and fix a mistake right away." But I mean, I can tell you from experience, I got used to it.
Yeah.
If you stick with it long enough, you get used to it. You learn to perform not only just as well, but way better. Because as you said, there are some structural things that once you get over that getting used to it point, those structural advantages really pay off in higher quality over time and better speed.
Oh, absolutely. But here's the funny thing. So you were classic. You're normal. I mean, you're special, of course, because you're my
Of
son.
course.
But uh, you didn't want to do this to begin with, and because you had a habit.
Hmm.
So if I always drive on the right hand side of the street, and I went over to the UK, I'm going to think driving is horrible over there because it's on the wrong. They're going to love me. It's on the wrong side of the street. And that happens all over the world. So if I go over there and learn to drive, there's a short-term discomfort there because it's just different. Is it better on the side of the street we drive on? I can tell you categorically, I've seen terrible drivers in different locations around the world, but they certainly are a habit that once you learn it one way, there's a short transition period where it's not going to be comfortable to drive the other way. And it's the same with almost everything in life. Short term switching for some people is tougher than others. Some of it is how long they've had a certain habit.
Yeah, and the amount of time when you're describing punch and roll, it can sound it can sound like a lot of different steps when it would seem intuitively easier to just keep going, keep snapping my fingers using a dog clicker, whatever your old method was. It can sound like that's actually faster. Once you get punch and roll down, I can tell you categorically, it's not. You'll save so much time on every single project you do from this day forward once you get it down, once you get used to it, once you get over that initial hurdle and that pain point, and especially for people doing longer form narration, right? The people who do a lot of e-learning, audiobooks, things like that. You'll save time on shorter files too, but especially if you're doing anything longer form, it completely changes your life, doesn't it?
Well, it does. And we see it every time we do one of these podcasts. There are a couple points in here where I'd love to do a sentence over. I hear myself mumble. I hear myself saying something in a way that I think, oh, that's terrible. But I happen to know we don't have punch and roll in this. So we have to stop it. We have to restart it. We have to find the transition. We have to put in a little transition where everybody knows, Don messed up. So sometimes that's worse than just being organic about it. But if I'm listening to an audiobook, if I'm doing an e-learning thing, it needs to be right. It needs to be true to the script. This is a different context. So while I would love to have video punch and roll, it just isn't a thing that I know of, at least with the tech we have today. So it ends up that habits are the biggest issue and the decision. But I have to ask you a question. Do you remember it all? Because it's been so long. I know today you would never go back, but do you remember how long you had the discomfort of just doing something different when you switched over? Was this
Yeah,
weeks? Was this 4 months? It took you 2 years?
it was a solid month at least, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a fairly significant amount of time. I really whined about it internally and externally to you, as I'm
I
sure you
remember the
remember.
external.
Because it was, it's one of the things that's tough early on, especially if you're very early in your narration career and you're still doing another job full time, and then maybe you're coming home late at night and you're recording for a couple hours, because I did that for a long time. And the last thing you feel like doing, on top of all the work you're putting in, all the time you're spending, the sleep you're losing trying to make this dream of becoming a full-time voiceover person a reality, last thing you feel like you have the bandwidth to do is also learn a new habit and unlearn an old one and change up your process and take more time in the short term to record a couple things. You just don't feel like you have it in you. But because I was able to press through that, it's opened up so many things. I couldn't do what I do now. I couldn't have the career I have where I'm doing voiceover and sometimes broadcasting games at night where my time is always limited. I couldn't do all that stuff if I weren't doing punch and roll with all the time that it saves me on every single project. And I'm sure that you've seen that with hundreds of other students of yours.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's still a little bit maddening for me that I have to, I mean, essentially I need to convince somebody and really show them the value of it. But what's happened is the numbers have just been, they're outrageous, where thousands have made that transition. And when you watch thousands, you're going to see that out of that, less than a handful. I mean, I can count on one hand the number of people that went back to doing it the old way. I'm not saying it's zero,
Hmm.
but it's so small anymore that you kind of say, okay, they all know the old way. You could go back to the clicker in a minute if it were of value to you.
Sure.
So there's no barrier to going back. But what the barrier is the productivity has now been raised, the matches and quality are stronger, and then so nobody wants to go back.